Hey, how's it going? It's Dean Rogers. Welcome to another episode of Deals with Dean. Today, I'm going to talk about a deal that we just closed escrow on and at the last minute had a buyer back out and had to find another buyer the same day to get it closed 24 hours later. You're not going to want to miss it. Let's go. All right, welcome back. Before we get started, a word from our sponsor today, Simply. Guys, if you're still in search for the best CRM for real estate, look no farther. Trust me when I say, a year and a half to 2 years ago, I looked far and wide for the best one. I tried to implement Podio 2 times. I also tried to implement Salesforce, and I was ready to pull my hair out. I knew it was going to be a customization nightmare, and I was going to be just up at night thinking about my CRM. I finally found Simply, and I am just like over the moon, in love. I've been with them for over a year and a half. I'm still in the honeymoon stage. It just keeps getting better. So guys, if you're looking for the best CRM for real estate investing, whether you're a wholesaler, realtor, or you're buying rentals, I'm telling you, you should look into Simply. I got a code to sign up, get you some percentage, sign up within the first month. So I'm gonna put the code up here for you, check it out. It's resimply.com/Dean, and check it out. If you like it, cool, I'm happy for you. If you don't, get rid of it and try something that works for you. All right, welcome back. Let's dive into this deal, okay? This one isn't one that you're gonna go brag to your friends, but it's one that just is an example of how in real estate and business, you gotta be nimble. You gotta be ready to take action and adjust with what is being thrown at you, okay? Now on this deal specifically, this was another friends with benefits deal. So we had another wholesaler bring us the deal and actually had it already ready to go. Not under contract, but like right at the point where they were about to sign a contract. So we made ourselves available. We went on the appointment for that wholesaler, met with the seller, and got to find out what the condition of the house was. Now the situation with the seller was it was a rental property that they had the tenant move out and they were doing repairs to. They put in new flooring, they did some updates in the kitchen, started doing some paint, and the house was incomplete. Not all the way done, but very close. Now, from there, next was to get it under contract. So with some back and forth between us and the wholesaler working together, we were able to get the seller knocked down or nailed down and get a price in contract. Now, the situation on this one, again, why you're not bragging to your friends about it, is because it wasn't a juicy deal, right? We hope every deal is a juicy deal, but I got to keep it real. I can't just show you all the big profit deals I'm doing. I got to show you the other deals that I'm doing as well that are good, solid deals, but there's funky things that go on, right? I want to share all the good, juicy stories with you. So on this one, the price that had already been discussed before we got involved was really a little bit too high. And so we were transparent from the get-go and said, hey, you know what? There's a chance this deal won't work out. Maybe it's only $5,000, maybe it's only $10,000 total profit potential on this deal. So don't get too excited about it and start counting your checks. So we got the contract signed and it was time for seeing if we had a buyer that would buy this property, right? It was really tight and I was a little bit nervous before I sent it out, but said, hey, you know what? Let's give it a shot. It's just right there on the border. There's really a chance. So because we have some of the best buyers and the best relationships with those buyers and how we've created urgency, we sent it out, and lo and behold, to my surprise, we had several buyers jump at it pretty quickly, okay? Now, the buyer that we ended up choosing to go with within the first several hours of being contacted was a buyer who admittedly was his first time doing an off-market deal. Now, sometimes that can be a red flag, but I did actually recognize the name of the buyer's entity, and they talked about their background. You know, I qualified them some and realized that they were buying properties on the MLS and through realtors. So chances are maybe they were willing to pay a little more than the average person. Okay, so this is a good sign. So I walked that buyer through my process. I talked about my magic questions and the expectations going forward, right? So my magic questions are, hey, so is there anything else that you need to do before we move forward, right? Before we even sign this assignment contract? Is there anything else you need? A walkthrough? Is there any financing contingency? Is there anybody else you need to call? Or are we 100% ready to move forward? Nothing else needed, no surprises, you're gonna close this deal. Now, I'll give some credit or give some leeway for the buyer. They did mention that, you know, if as long as the pictures match up with the actual condition, then they were good to go. Now, I said it clearly. All right, well, if we're going to move forward, you know, and you want to lock it in now, then I'll just tell you, we're the ones that walked it and we took those pictures. So we know that's the condition. So if you're good to move forward, we can move forward. So he said, all right, let's do this. Well, lo and behold, after some time passed, he ended up calling me back and saying, hey, you know what? I need that walkthrough before we close. Well, I had already pretty much made it clear that if I send you this contract and we sign it, all contingencies are removed. There's nothing else needed to do. Apparently, I wasn't clear enough, as much as I said it several times, and they said, you know what? I got to see it. All right. So fortunately, the seller was flexible, and we were willing to put in that little extra effort. Well, several days had passed as the seller was really busy. They worked a lot during the day, usually only available early evening. So we did our best to try to coordinate and get that appointment scheduled. 3 days had passed, and it was finally the time where we nailed down the seller, got an appointment scheduled, and truly were able to close that day or the next. As soon as the buyer walked it, wired their funds, the seller was ready to sign with escrow, and the buyer could sign their closing package. That morning, the buyer calls me and says, after I send him the message that the appointment was booked for 3 p.m. that day, that because things were up in the air, they went ahead and found another property and are moving forward on that property. Now remember, we signed a contract already, and I had been in daily communication with this buyer, letting him know I was still working on that appointment and to stay posted. If you sign an agreement and you say you're going to buy a house and then you just say, oh, well, I found another one after you signed a contract, doesn't that seem like pretty messed up? I think so. So your word is so important, and doing the right thing is so important. So for me, I just said, hey, look, man, let's just keep this real simple. We got the appointment ready for you. We're ready to close escrow today. Are we doing this, or are we done here? He responded, we're done here. I said, boom, that's all I needed to hear. You are blacklisted, right? You are blacklisted. I don't want to work with you again if that's how you're going to conduct business. It's not cool. So what did I do? Well, I still had that 3 p.m. appointment that day, and it was 12:30 at the time. So I called my next buyer. Fortunately, I had several buyers interested, and let them know that the property was available. Had a buyer that was screwing around, told him the situation. He agreed that that wasn't cool. You can't do that. And he said, let me make a phone call. Called me back 30 more minutes later and said, yes, we want the property. Can we see it? I said, as a matter of fact, you can. I've got a 3 p.m. appointment. So we got him into that appointment. He viewed it, saw it, called me after he left, said, let's do this. I want to close by the end of the week. Now, it was Wednesday, wanted to close by Friday. So we got escrow updated with a new assignment contract with the new buyer. I made sure to let escrow that the other buyer failed to perform and didn't meet up to his obligations in the contract, so we were voiding that contract, and I would be sending the new assignment contract with the new buyer who was ready and able to close ASAP. So once that was done, they signed their package on Thursday, wired all the funds on Thursday. The seller had an appointment at noon on Friday to sign their closing documents, and they did. It released a record and got closed. So that's some busy work there. The funny part about all this was the wholesaler had no idea what was going on in the background leading up to that point, right? This all unfolded on a Wednesday, and we didn't feel like it was necessary to bother them or stress them out about the escrow that was ready to close, and they were expecting and counting on that to close. Well, we made sure to get it done on our end and make it a win-win and come out good on the other end. So turned out great. We ended up making a $10,000 profit that we split 50-50, $5,000 each, which, if you think about it, is great for a deal that we really felt was a coin toss. Was there going to be any profit or not? So turned out as a great deal for everybody and came out as a win on the other side. Woo, all right. So got the deal done. It was no easy feat. Did not miss out on any drama on this one, as we thought it was going to be smooth sailing. But that's just a good example that you're going to run into speed bumps and hiccups and challenges, and you just got to push through, move on, solve the problem, and get the deal done. And if you can do that, you'll come out winning. So stay at it and get after it. Let's go, baby.